2 millennia, these men held the keys to heaven and the fate of empires. They've toppled kings, sparked holy wars, and rewritten history itself. But who was the greatest? The saints, the schemers, and the saviors who didn't just lead the church, they transformed the world. Prepare for a journey through time, faith, and absolute power. Welcome to Holy History. Today we're ranking the top 10 greatest popes of all time in history, the men who turned the papacy into a global superpower. This isn't just a list. It's a saga of ambition, genius, and holy chaos. Trust me, by the end, you'll question everything you thought you knew about these men of God. To understand the papacy, we must go back to its roots, a time when Rome wasn't holy, but hunted, persecuted Christians, buried martyrs, and one man who would become the rock of the church. But first, let's set the stage. The Roman Empire was a meat grinder of gods and gladiators, Christianity a fringe cult. But in 64 AD, Nero burned Rome and blamed the Christians. Thousands were slaughtered, crucified, or fed to lions. Yet from this bloodshed emerged a rebel faith, and its first leader, Peter, a fisherman turned fugitive. Peter's crucifixion under Nero made him a martyr, but his symbolic power outlived him. By the 4th century, Emperor Constantine legalized Christianity, and the Bishop of Rome claimed Peter's mantle. But it wasn't until a barbarian horde arrived at the gates that a pope proved his worth.
Before we delve in deeper, please take 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on similar videos. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Back to our discussion.
10. Pope Leo I the Great, 440 to 461 AD, Rome, 452 AD. The empire is a carcass. Attila the Hun, the scourge of God, has razed cities from Constantinople to Milan. Now, 100,000 warriors turn toward the eternal city, but Rome has no legions, no walls, only Pope Leo I. Picture this showdown. Leo, in simple robes, rides out to meet Attila. No guards, no gold, just faith. What happened next? Legends say Attila saw visions of saints threatening him. Reality? Leo likely paid a fortune in tribute, but the result was the same. Attila retreated. Rome survived, and the Pope became its de facto ruler. Leo didn't stop there. When a warlord sacked Rome again in 455, Leo negotiated mercy. No slaughter, no fires. His secret? Moral authority. He also crushed heresies, declaring the Pope supreme over all bishops. By his death, the papacy wasn't just spiritual, it was a geopolitical force. But Leo's successors faced a problem. How do you rule an empire without an army? The answer? You create one. Enter our next pope, a man who declared holy war. 9. Pope Urban II, 1088 to 1099, 1095. The Islamic Seljuk Turks have conquered Jerusalem. Byzantine emperors beg for help. Pope Urban II sees an opportunity not just to save Christendom, but to unite it under his thumb. Urban didn't just preach, he promised. Take up the cross, he cried, and all your sins will be forgiven. Thousands of peasants, knights, and criminals surged east. The First Crusade had begun, but was this holy zeal or a power grab? The Crusades were a bloodbath. When Jerusalem fell in 1099, Crusaders massacred Muslims and Jews alike. But Urban's legacy? He turned the Pope into a warlord, proving faith could mobilize armies. The Vatican's grip on Europe tightened, but so did its enemies. Number 8. Pope Gregory I the Great, 590 to 604 AD, 590 AD. Rome is a ghost town. The plague of Justinian kills 5,000 a day. The Tiber floods, washing bodies into streets. Abandoned by emperors, Rome turns to Pope Gregory I, a monk who hated being pope, but became its greatest reformer. Gregory didn't just pray, he organized. He turned churches into food banks, negotiated with Lombard invaders, and sent missionaries to England. He even standardized church music, Gregorian chant. But his boldest move? Declaring the Pope universal bishop, overriding Eastern patriarchs. Gregory's humility became his power. He called himself servant of the servants of God, a title popes still use. By saving Rome from collapse, he proved the church could outlast empires. Oh, and he banned kissing to stop the plague. Priorities. Number 7. Pope Innocent III, 1198 to 1216. Meet Innocent III, the Pope who declared, "The Lord left to Peter not just the church, but the entire world." Ambitious? Absolutely. By 1200, he turned the papacy into a medieval superpower, ruling over kings and emperors. Innocent's reign began with a crisis. The Holy Roman Empire was tearing itself apart. So, he crowned a new emperor, then excommunicated him when he rebelled. But his real power move? The Fourth Lateran Council of 1215. Over 1,000 bishops, abbots, and kings gathered to rewrite the rules of Christianity. He authorized the Albigensian Crusade, slaughtering thousands of Cathar heretics in France. Yet he also mandated annual confession, defined marriage as a sacrament, and built the framework of modern Catholicism. Innocent's papacy was a paradox: brutal reform, holy tyranny. Love him or hate him, he made the Vatican unignorable. Number 6. Pope Paul III, 1534 to 1549. The 16th century was chaotic. Luther's Reformation was splitting Europe. Enter Paul III, a party-loving cardinal turned reformer. His mission? Save the church, with art, intrigue, and a little terror. He kick-started the Counter-Reformation, commissioning masterpieces to outshine Protestant austerity. But he also greenlit the Roman Inquisition, hunting heretics with brutal efficiency. Oh, and he recognized Copernicus's heliocentric theory, then banned it 73 years later. Classic Vatican mixed signals. Paul's legacy? He saved the church through beauty and fear. But was he a visionary or a hypocrite? After all, he made his teenage grandson a cardinal. Family first, right? 5. Pope Pius V, 1566 to 1572, 1571. The Ottoman Empire dominates the Mediterranean. Europe is fractured. But Pius V, a grim, ascetic Dominican, had a plan: unite Christendom by force. He excommunicated Queen Elizabeth I, calling her a heretic bastard, and rallied Spain, Venice, and the Vatican into the Holy League. At Lepanto, 300 ships clashed in history's last great galley battle. The Christians won. Pius credited the Virgin Mary, but his victory came at a cost: holy terrorism. Pius's reign was a crusade. He enforced the Inquisition, banned immoral art, and wore a hair shirt to bed. He died 2 years after Lepanto, saintly, but feared. The church had its hero, but the world paid in blood. Number 4. Pope Leo XIII, 1878 to 1903. The Industrial Revolution birthed skyscrapers and slums. Leo XIII, the oldest pope ever elected, faced a question: could the church survive the modern age? His 1891 encyclical Rerum Novarum shocked the world. It condemned capitalism's greed and communism's godlessness, demanding fair wages and unions. Workers rejoiced, tycoons fumed, For the first time, the Vatican sided with the poor, not kings. Leo also made the Vatican a science ally, reopening the Vatican Observatory. But his boldest move? Secretly negotiating peace between Germany and Spain. He proved the Pope could be a moral compass, even in a world of steam engines and stock markets. Number 3, Pope John Paul II, 1978 to 2005. Karol Wojtyła, a poet, actor, and resistance fighter, became John Paul II, the first Slavic pope. And he didn't just change the church, he changed the world. He survived Nazi occupation, communism, and an assassin's bullet. His forgiveness of Mehmet Ali Agca stunned millions. But his real weapon was charisma. He visited 129 countries, drawing crowds so massive they broke Guinness records. He helped topple communism by backing Poland's solidarity movement, yet he clashed with modernity, denouncing birth control, feminism, and gay rights. A saint? A reactionary? Either way, he made the papacy a global rock star. Number 2, Pope Gregory VII, 1073 to 1085. Gregory VII didn't just defy emperors, he humiliated them. His investiture controversy asked, who rules Christendom, popes or kings? His answer, God's deputy outranks everyone. When Henry IV defied him, Gregory dropped the ultimate penalty, excommunication. Henry begged for 3 days in the snow, and Gregory relented. But the message was clear. The Vatican rules. Gregory died in exile, but his vision outlived him. Without him, the church might have remained a puppet of corrupt kings. A tyrant? Maybe. But the medieval papacy's architect deserves his due. Number 1, St. Peter, 64 AD. And now, the man who started it all. Not a king, a general, or a scholar, a fisherman. Peter wasn't perfect. He betrayed Jesus. He fled persecution. But his faith and his gruesome crucifixion upside down made him a symbol. By the 4th century, emperors built a basilica over his grave. Every pope since claims to sit on Peter's throne. Did Peter really find the papacy? Historians debate. But belief in his legacy built an institution that outlasted Rome. Without Peter, there's no list, no Vatican, no 2 billion Catholics. He's number 1 because he's the rock, myth, man, and mystery. From fishermen to kings, these men wielded power like no others. But was their legacy divine or human? The truth, both. They were saints and sinners, visionaries and tyrants. And their stories remind us that history isn't shaped by perfect people, but by those bold enough to grab destiny by the reins. If you made it this far, you're a legend. Drop a comment. Which pope shocked you most? For more Journey right here. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and remember, history isn't just about dates. It's about the people who dared to change the world.